Good morning and welcome back to another episode on the Coin King channel. I am your host, Down to Crypto TA. Bitcoin just broke out of this triangle formation over here. Not too long ago, since this is a 15-minute candle, it has been a little bit of time since I've entered into this position here. I entered off of the clearance of this initial trend line right here. The stop loss is set just below here. Um, I might need to move that up here soon, just to cover, price action coming back inside of this triangle formation, which is tapped into the 786 there, which is drawn off of this high here and this low here. Seeing some positive things come in on Bitcoin price action, particularly the 4-hour time frame. Despite the whipsaw price action we got yesterday and here, we've seen like quite a bit of bullish divs come in. Like this is the trade setup that we took on. What day was this? On Tuesday. That was the one that we took on Tuesday, and we had bullish divergence on this drop down right here. We did that again yesterday after our data, and you can see how we put in another bull div right through here and then another bull div right across here. So there is some underlying strength, even though we're not really seeing it come into the market. Like you're not seeing it in the price action. There is some underlying strength for Bitcoin. I also look back at open interest. So remember I was saying to you on Tuesday that there was more open interest around puts, and you can see that that's what we ended up having too. So it was just a reminder. Okay, what today, on this particular day, we're seeing a lot more open interest on puts. This morning, as I was looking at it, you can see the OI coming in on the call side. Now there is a larger strike that's going to be around $35 for anybody who's into IBIT. It's going to be a larger strike, and it is a put strike, and it's going to be around 30, around 35. And then the next largest strike is at $40, but there's a lot of new orders opening around that 40 again. So, or that's what we would look for price action to probably get pinned today, somewhere between 35 and $40 is what you're going to look for on IBIT. Here on the 4-hour, we did something a little different in here for the first time here. See, we did get the break above here yesterday off of this candle right here. So we did get the cross above here. And you can see through here how we're starting to pinch a lot closer here with the MACD and our delta. So if we can just get to a place now, we got a green cross here, which means that MACD is above its signal line. If we can just get that MACD above that zero line, that's going to make a difference in price action too. And the other thing that we have here, if I put on, me drop this one and let me just do, I'm going to do, I'm going to do this one. So you're going to see right here how we also got a positive signal cross right through here too. So this is a little later than the RSI, but it's been a minute since we got that. The last time we got it, it was a negative and it was here. So the last time we got it was here. And now we have a positive cross through here. Now this makes a lot more of a difference, especially if price action, or if this if these lines are trading above the zero line in here for this indicator, it's going to make a big difference on that. And so I mean, basically we'll be waiting for the same thing that we're trying to see here with MACD, which is MACD above the zero line. So we need to be trading back above that. And you can see how long it's been since we were trading above that. The last time we traded above it was here. So back in here, which was this move right here. That was the last time that we were trading above it. So we can get a stronger push if we can get back above it. We really want to be above it. You see a nicer push right there as well. As long as we're trading below it, everything just remains corrective and nothing more than that. We haven't had any green bars to flip to the top side here either. And the last time again for that was in here, the same place where MACD crossed up, and then over here was the last time we had some green bars um, to the top side of the well, not it's not a signal line, but the mean line for this indicator right here. We do need to get above. I'm saying a lot of what we need to get above right now. But you see this parallel channel right here. So a nice clean break outside this parallel channel. We would like to see that. We like to see that. We just tapped into it with a little wick, but we failed to trade outside of this descending channel, which descending channels tend to be bullish, you know. Um, and tell you what else I'm looking at, and I don't want to be confusing because I am in a long. My short is my latest short was the latest short came from. I just want to make sure. Oh, yeah, my latest short came from 70. So my latest short came from here. See these two highs in here. I think I took it over here. I don't think I took it off of the SFP. I don't think I did. I think I took it over here, and then price action started to come down and went against me a little bit. So yeah, my last short entry that I'm still holding right now is over here. Well, it's these highs in here, and you can see like we did a double top. So I did go ahead and just put a measured move in here for that double top, which does, if we do, you know, the low here to the high here, that would be the 786. If we see a failure to get the break out of here and invalidate this potential head and shoulder formation. But right now, I'm putting a little bit more emphasis on this channel. Let's see if we can't get the break to the upside. That confirms that signal cross that we got as well, and some of the bullish divvy that we've been seeing through there, and everything I just said to you about open interest. That's what I'm watching for here for Bitcoin. We can get that. I mean, we've been had this crossover here on the RSI, but we haven't had any follow through ever since we got this bounce right here. We haven't really had to follow through this. I don't know what to call the candles through here. The this little waterfall right here. I don't know what to call that. So yeah, you can even see like through here what we're looking at on the 4-hour time frames in terms of that channel, just going down through there. So if I do it in that, let me see. If I do it like that, let me just make sure. We can use this as well. Just kind of look back at it if price action does tap into that. It might be could be an area of resistance. But we've been positive over here on the daily time frame. We're still sitting in a squeeze down here, but you can see how low these bars are sitting in here. They're nowhere close to coming into a flip here. The bears do still have control of this time frame. Positive outcome would be a break, an expansion through here off of this Bollinger, and expansion to the upside here. So yeah, cool. And typically this does indicate that we would break to the upside. So that means that we would break through all of this, get above this resistance that's through here as well. It's just a matter of it playing out. And right now, it just, yeah, just lacking a little follow through right now. But accumulation is started happening off of this low. This is genuine accumulation that started happening off of this low. So big money did start piling in right through here, and that's still being held. An increase, by the way. It's nothing new here off of our weekly time frame. I did recently put a post out though, and that post was on. And I'm not fear mongering when I do this either. I just want to be clear. I'm not fear mongering when I put this post out, but it's something to. I'm a person that looks at the change in psychology in the chart, and we do have that. Like there is a behavioral change in this chart. If you see here, ignore the outside and ignore the borders. But you see this candle right here? The last time that candle was that solid color was here, and that was 2011. Like that hasn't happened since here. I have this on a logarithmic chart, but that is the first time since 2011 that this has taken place. That candle color has taken place. It's a little concerning for me. So I put this chart out on X. I didn't say anything other than, what do you do in this case? Because I don't want to seem like I'm fear mongering. I'm not, but I do identify changes of behavior um, in price action, and that's a change of behavior right there. Printing that candle that hasn't been printed since 2011. Now there's still like a month and 20 days left, so little less than 2 months for this to actually confirm. But it's there. And if I'm doing a measured move off of this rising formation in here, then that would put price action down here. And I just kind of put a box in here between that pivot low and this candle um, candle body here. And so this is what I would be looking for. If the worst crap happened, what would be the worst crap? It would have to be something to do with strategy. That's the only thing I can think of right now. It would have to be something like that. I've said quite a few times that I'm not a fan of the rainbow chart. Like anything that does this rounding is bearish. I'm never known for it to not be bearish. So when something's doing a rounding top and a rainbow is a rounding top, it's bearish. And you can see we've already broken down below here as well. And this is me expanding that trend line down, because if I did it like, actually, I can even use that. If I did it like that, then we broke it a long time ago. Like I can base it off of the top side of this range that I tried to give it. We've already broken that. I just want to be clear. I cannot say that this happens. I cannot say that it doesn't happen. I'm not fear mongering. I'm just paying attention to the change of behavior. That's it. That's all I'm paying attention to. So if I look down here on how I'm basing that also, you see this line right here, this directional trend line right here. You can see how this line for the first time crossed below that mean. And based on this RSI, we can still come further based on this RSI. The regression lines through here is pretty decent. It's pretty decent. So we could, for some reason, I don't know what the reason would be. We could, for some reason, if this RSI continues to drop lower, I mean, we got a ways that we could go, and I'm not talking about the $30,000 range. I'm just something to bear in mind. Okay, that's it. That's all I want to say. I just see a change of behavior here. I see a red candle that I haven't seen on this chart since 2011. I'm just not going to ignore it. I'm just not going to pretend that it's not there. And this would have to be a sailor thing, in my opinion. I know that he was doing an interview when he was saying like price had to get below 8,000 for him. So either hang around 8,000 for a while or lose that 8,000 is something like that for strategy to be in trouble. We're far from that, those type of numbers. But this is here. This is here. All right. Let me get back over here on this 15-minute time frame. We're continuing to try to clear the cloud. I think we did get above it right through here. I think we did. Once we tapped into that 7x6. Let me check Bollinger too. I just want to see how we're doing with that. All right. So we expanded a little bit here to the upside. with that. It's not the greatest expansion, just looking at the bottom of that too. It's not the strongest expansion. And at this point, we want to hold between that 1 and 2. So we want to hold on any correction down. We want to hold above that 67.6, wherever that is. If you're using Bollinger's, you want to hold above that. Just start to range within that pocket. So hopefully this can get stronger. And when I say range within the pocket, you know that I'm talking about like this, how it did to the downside, how it held within this pocket. We want to see that to the upside. And I think that we did clear to the top side of the QTD, but yeah, and I don't see anything interesting about the QTD right now. Um, but I like to see, since price action is above it, I like to see this cloud flip down. That'll indicate to me some additional strength coming in on this 15-minute time frame. We don't have a flip right now. Maybe that can happen later, but I'm just focusing on I guess I have to put more emphasis on the Bollinger instead. So we'll just use this golden pocket as we don't want to be below. I mean, wicks are fine. We don't want to be trading below there. No candle closures below that level. If it can get higher. Ethereum. Um, Ethereum just staying within what's my accumulation zone for Ethereum, which was at 786. The lower side of the box right here, which, as I covered before, we can see how historically it has held as support and resistance throughout here. And then the next place I accumulate is if price action drops down here below VWAP, ever so slightly below VWAP. I don't want it to deviate too far from VWAP, but that'll be the next place I would pick up for Ethereum. Ethereum at right now, we are still maintaining the low from in here, and hopefully we can see a push up. I cannot, yeah, I don't know right now. Everything just kind of, you can see some weakness in all of this. We talked about that. We tapped that measured move, which was also the lower end of that accumulation zone for me. Um, our daily ranges that we have through here. If we do lose this zone, like I said, VWAP is what I'm going to be looking at. I'm not going to accumulate anything where we start to deviate too far from VWAP. At that point, I'm going to have to cut my losses on Ethereum if that happens. But in terms of a zone, like playing scaps or something like that, maybe somewhere around that 16 to 14 here for Ethereum to the downside. And of course, coming back up, we'll be looking at 24.15 to about 22.49 here. That zone right there. Um, you see, we also have a positive RSI here on Ethereum for our time frame. MACD more than likely looks the same. Yeah, it's starting to converge closer together, which means we're likely on some sort of resolution to get a little bit of a push higher in here. I can say that this kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulders right through here too. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, right here. Not sure the direction of it. Where's it at? It's right here. Not really sure the direction. Let's see if I was, yeah, left. Okay. Nothing would be confirmed over here because, of course, price action literally hasn't even broken above this trend line through here. But let's just say if that happens, we'll just go ahead and, be ahead of things. This is just hopium at best. I think we've done this opium thing like twice and it didn't work out. So, um, it's closer towards that old weekly level right there, which is 26.18. So, I mean, the hopium is on here. So I drew it out, and that's the best I can say about it right there. Not the prettiest, in terms of, head and shoulder inverse head and shoulder formation either. Seems more like a broadening in a sense. If I do let me see. I do that. No, no, it doesn't. Okay. I was thinking maybe, but nope, that's wrong. So get rid of that. We'll look out for that. Let's see, we were looking at a potential what were we looking at in here? I can't remember, but we did a measure move on it. We didn't quite hit that. Um, mm, this doesn't look healthy. This looks like, this could reject from where it is right now for Ethereum. I'm just tagging along with that white line that's sitting at the top side of the cloud. Looks like it would reject it here. If it does push through it, then once it shoots back down like that, like, it's gonna be bearish, like all these times over here. This seems more like it would, like a rejection point, and if it's not, then 2,079. Just looking at this 1 hour. Yeah, and we're gonna end up putting in some bear divs here on the RSI. I'm trying to push up a little bit more. Let me see if I can't change that chart setting. Something where we can actually see the price line. It is the first closure below this prior low, and here you can see how we rejected with the wick there, rejected coming into it there, rejected there. There was a first closure above that prior, day low right there, but still it looks like resistance right through here. Like I said, bear div. Um, I don't remember what this was I was looking at in here. I think it was a double top, and that's what I looked at. I think I looked at this as a double top, which hasn't been invalidated just yet. Um, yeah, it's definitely a resistance. Check 15-minute. Let's sort of see what we got happening. That explains the resistance a little bit easier for me right there. Yeah, prior low, that's a bit of resistance. Even if it does push through here again, it's still resistance. I don't think that Ethereum gets too far away from here, and, we'll see some sort of a quick rejection on it. We got let me see how rising this is. Um, I think that's too far, so I wouldn't do that. Can't do this because it's already broken this, I think. Yeah, it's already broken that. I can't do that. And the only other thing I could see me doing, probably this right here, and I hate to cut through the body. I hate to cut through these other candles. This could have just been an outlier, an overshoot right here. Hmm. Bitcoin still pushing up a little bit more in here. That's nice. Trying to push through there. Hmm. I guess if Bitcoin is gonna keep pushing, then maybe I still just feel like it's hitting resist. It's not gonna get too far, in my opinion. Still just feel like that. That was the 2000 tap. Yeah, that was the $2,000 tap right there. And I guess the last thing to look at, is probably gonna be like an SFP if we don't see a rejection right here. Maybe like a liquidity grab and then an SFP. Like I said, it will put in a bear div right in here. If it tries to go up any higher, it will put in a bear div. Let me see. Solana. Hold on, let me check. Let me see. Bollinger. Then I'm gonna take a look at Solana. Okay. And that's basically just to break up the first break through here for the expansion that we was looking at with that trend line going to the downside through here. Solana looks a little better than Ethereum. Uh, yeah, it looks a little better than Ethereum. But I'm gonna say the same thing I said about Bitcoin. Like I really like to see this start to roll down if there's any additional strength coming in. Otherwise, the same as Bitcoin, but much better than Ethereum. And I can see already see the breakup here on Solana through here. And then even danced around on top of this a little bit here too. Trying to get the line as best as I can. Even dance around a little bit right there. So falling back in here would be bearish for it. Let's see if there's anything new through there. Not really. And then I guess if it did come back in here and you were looking for a back test, because it looked like it would fail a back test on that. If it, did it again, it would be right through here. I'm just gonna highlight that out. Be right through here. Where I got that fast break at. 'Cause there was nothing in here for it to, yeah, it got above the cloud in here. So much better than Ethereum, at least from the 15-minute time frame. Let me zoom out. You got a break in here. Um, I mean, if you wanted to do that right through here, I don't know what to make of that, but just right through there. Let me see. 15. Very choppy. Yeah, it's gonna roll over. It's gonna roll over. I trust shorting Ethereum a lot more than I would trust shorting Solana right now, though. Ooh, good lord. All right, so great example of that. Yeah, that deviation, that flipping back down right here. Any more, and it would be a bear div. So maybe the same thing over here. Just to say if it did, if for some reason they were able to squeeze price up before market opens, I would just look for an SFP. Would have some bearish divergence with that. Otherwise, it starts to roll down from here. Mm, I don't see anything there. Here. Some point, this would be some good liquidity. We have these equals through here, semi equals through here. That's going to be some good liquidity for market makers to come through and grab right there at some point. And we do get a little bit more strength off of the 4-hour time frame, and I think we're about the same down through here too. Yep, we're getting closer together, but we do need to claim above the zero line in here for MACD. Even though we have a positive MACD signal cross at the moment, we also have a positive RSI. So at some point, that liquidity in here will get taken. It's irresistible. Probably, let's see on the next candle, we'll be talking about 87, 64, 87, just say 88, because they're gonna have if they're gonna take the liquidity, they're gonna come above that. So just say 88 cent, $88 for Ethereum. I mean Solana. Good Lord, Solana. I'm gonna draw a fib off of that. Also still below the mean here on the RSI. No bullish divergence through here yet, which would be nice to see some bullish divvy through here. Got none. No crossing bars up through here since the last time was back here. So not as strong as it, might appear. Mm. I guess at the end of the day, we do want to see when Solana's ready to reverse. When the downtrend is over, we want to see Solana get back above this VWAP right here. It's never not gotten back above it and not stayed above it. So, in long term, you want to see Solana back above 90.52. That's what we want for the long term, to be back above 90.52. To the downside, we could still get down to about 40.30, in my opinion. I'm not looking below 40 to 30, below 30. I'm not looking below $30 for if, worst case scenario would be some garbage with, well, I guess if Bitcoin if Bitcoin did, any of the things that, I have in my mind, it'll be terrible. So, um, yeah, it's nothing really covered over here on this one. All right, let's take us back to Bitcoin. Yeah, just checking back on ETH and back over here to Bitcoin. I was looking back at the Microsoft setup too, because we didn't manage to break out of the gap on that Microsoft setup. And I can see that we don't have the follow through just yet on the 24-hour chart. Something that I'm looking for. I'm going to show you that in a second. I marked out the highest level of liquidity in the last 24 hours was, this one up here. Of course, there was the liquidity that was here, and then there's the liquidity that's right above this pivot right here as well. But this is the highest to the upside. And to the downside, I marked out some areas in here for liquidity. Here, this is the ones in yellow. It's just me highlighting where the most liquidity is sitting at in terms of coin glass. And then, the little, I don't know if you call this some sort of a green or cyan or whatever color that is. That's look important liquidity, but not as relevant as the ones in yellow. And I just stopped it out there. So that's why Bitcoin is, yeah, so I want to focus on that Bollinger. Wherever this standard deviation one is at, that's the most I want to see Bitcoin do. Um, all right, let me just share this real quick with you. So on this Microsoft setup that we have in here, there's been no follow through with this move. You see how we have these little gray lines through here, which is momentum. It's in relation to my QTD indicator, and that lets me know when the scale line is actually crossing back inside of that cloud. We haven't had that through here. Um, that was actually the last bar that got it, that pushed price up, and then the invalidation X right here because we started to break back down. Notice how we haven't got anything like that. You also see here we didn't break. Like right now, this gap that we were waiting for price action to come through and fill, and we're not getting outside of that gap just yet either. So that gap is acting as some sort of resistance. I do want to see us hold a higher low. This is an inside bar right now, but that little top and tail right there is a little bit concerning. So that just takes me back to some things that I was saying in here for Microsoft. If we're not managing to hold this channel, if we're not managing to hold the channel, at least this portion of the channel, um, I kind of treat it like a pitchfork. And this down here, I mean, that seems far-fetched, but it also seemed far-fetched when we were here. And I was saying, hey, I think that, over the next several weeks, we're going to inch our way down here to fill in this gap. So that took about 2 months before that even played out for this setup. So that could take some time. That will take some time. We know that will take some time, if anything, but they do have earnings coming up around here. Far off from that dividends, sure. But if we do start to lose this channel, I'm going to be under the impression that we can come much lower. Of course, I'm going to cut this long that I'm in for Microsoft. Just wanted to bring that to your attention on that. And I don't think we had another setup in here. It's not from Amazon, and I don't think that we made it. Yeah, we still haven't made it down here. That was a short setup. It was two short setups in here. It was the one where price action came back into the top side of that, and then there was one in case price action came up to here. But as far as the long setup for Microsoft, I believe I had it set for, I think it's like 189 or something like that. I think, if I moved it to match up with this line down here or not. I know it's not going to show on this chart right here. I have to be on 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 5. Let's see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So it's 190. 190 is the current long setup for Amazon. So just still waiting. Now, like, I appreciate the fact that we've been holding inside through here, whatever this pattern formation is in here. I would consider that to be bearish. Kinda looks like gold, but gold is gold is doing okay. Gold is doing okay. Maybe we come up and back test here for another rejection. Could look for another short there. I actually didn't take the short here, and yeah, I didn't take the short there. I'm gonna wait and see if I can catch the long though, because I can just do that spot, but I didn't, commit to the short in here. I don't like the way I have to trade it on BTCC at all. So that's a no-go for me. Alright, Betty. Bitcoin has gotten really boring, like, trying to, do analysis on it, prior to market open can be very boring, and then market opens in, like, the first, I don't know, maybe 15 to an hour, something like that. You get some whipsaw price action, and then you go back to stalemate, and especially when market closes, oh my gosh, like, we all should just be trading the IBIT at this point and then just, take our focus off of the chart because 'cause we're not doing anything. Um, we're not doing anything before market opens, not too much, and then after market closes, not too much, just sideways and freaking boredom. Every day I have to turn these. Anybody knows a faster way of doing this, please let me know because I don't know why TradingView is just pushing that on everybody. I hate it. And like I was saying in here for habit, just do it like this. Hold on. Let's do somewhere between today and tomorrow as these options do start to expire tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna do 35. Put it on a 4 hour. There's stuff in here. Just keeping us pinned. Boy, when I tell you, just keeping us pinned. This is basically where they've sold the contracts at with the highest strikes, like I said, 40, 35, the 2 highest strike, um, prices. Just keeping us pinned in between there. We've been in here now. Ugh. for a couple of days. For a couple of days. I didn't even see that little gap right through here. At least it filled that one, got stopped out at the gap right there. Filled that little gap right there. It's interesting how with Bollinger, like that gap where we got stopped out at the last time, that's actually filled at the top side of the Bollinger, and then the one down here that we haven't tapped yet gets filled at the lower of this Bollinger. Hopefully this squeeze does break to the upside. Volatility is garbage. Much further below the mean, no follow through in here, even though you can see like this is darker, little something, bigger gap on the MACD. My bid breaks up above at 38 and just say 39, just to be away from it. Then there's a good chance we get back into this 40 or even into this gap right here and actually fill in that gap. And then maybe reject from there. We could do this song and dance all the way through March, to be real. Like we can just stay right here. CME. A little bit more of a squeeze here on CME. So I'm assuming that Bitcoin price action is also just, let's see, the CME gap. Just for entertainment purposes, which I think that this would be like the ugliest head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder, the same thing I said about Ethereum. But just for entertainment purposes, Bitcoin ain't going anywhere right now. It just looks ugly. But it never is really pretty. Mm, this is reaching. This is really reaching. It's really reaching though. Mm. Mhm. We shall see. I think I can just draw a line through here so I don't have to have this Bollinger on here. Just put it back on just so I can make sure I'm looking at the line properly. Yeah. The, we already hit like I think it was like the golden pocket off of um, this high to this low, which is why I'm not bothering with it. But since we are above, yeah, I can just put it back. Maybe we can do like the 7-8. Okay, we have the 786. So never mind on that. Yeah, it was the 786 we hit. First time was the golden pocket, then the 786. And now we're just back at it. Let me see. Take this higher then. Let's go for that peak right there. And we say golden pocket. So maybe if we're going to get into that liquidity, um, then I guess we say 786. I kind of screwed up yesterday. I did. I really screwed up yesterday. I let greed be a factor, and I didn't do what I normally look at, which is anytime price action pushes into that cloud, or I mean, it's just a simple fib that can work too. But I've been putting more focus on my indicator a little bit, and I knew that just based on the structure of it, that it would more than likely be a rejection. And I got greedy in here. And instead of me just, because that was the top of the cloud, like the measured move in here was the top of the cloud for this right here. I waited, even when I saw the bullish divergence through here, I waited for it to confirm. I wanted price action to close above this candle, wherever the low candle, wherever the lowest red candle was. I needed price action to close above it in order to validate the bullish divergence idea. And we got that. We got that. And I should have just been out of the trade right here because, like I said, that was where the cloud is at, and I don't expect for it to do more than that. We spiked above it, cool, but I don't expect for it to do more than that unless I see some sort of a drop while price action is inside there or something, and we didn't get that. So when the rejection happened, I'm still holding the bag. And yeah, then I started getting sloppy with my trading, like wanting to revenge trade and just taking entries just to take them. Like even right here with the bullish divvy, I didn't do bad with the bullish divergence, but I fell asleep. I didn't set anything. Like it was just I was just terrible yesterday, just absolutely terrible. Like I started out glorious yesterday, like with managing my risk, and then I just got to where I'm not managing the risk. I'm just being sloppy with the entries and the exits, and it was horrible. It was horrible. And I don't really know why I had that feeling yesterday, but that was me yesterday just being absolutely messy. And I'm really ticked off with myself too, because I increased my position size as well, which for something like this one, that's fine. That was fine. I was managing my risk for starters, and then I stopped managing the risk. I stopped managing the risk, closing out the stop loss and stuff like that, like just doing ignorant stuff. Um, I usually just, go for the small wins. And even when the trade started getting sloppy, I was still um, trying to take big trades on sloppy opportunities. So anyway, I'm back down. Like before market opens, I'm gonna keep my position size the way I normally do it. Keep it small, take my small wins. Um, 'cause it's the easy way to build up an account, and I seen somebody ask that question somewhere else. The easiest way to build up an account is to take small ones. That's the easiest way. When you start swinging for the fence, you have to consider the fact that you'll lose a lot too. You'll lose more with your stop losses. Even if you know you're managing your risk, you'll lose more with your stop loss because 'cause they're gonna charge your fees are gonna be higher. That's, like, one of the biggest things that I hated too is, like, the high fees. You're gonna pay way more than fees. He's gonna be bringing us back into that standard, 1. Let me just check my trade. Yeah, look like we're about to roll over on this 15-minute. I can see that. Um, a little bit of rolling over on the 15. I'm barely still just up 19%, but as it comes back, and so we did get a we didn't, never mind what I was about to say. Yep, that's the rollover. We're not gonna hold there. At least from what I'm looking at, we're not gonna hold here. We're gonna break below that. So then I guess we would have to look here. I do think I'm not sure if the 20 SMA is still sitting there or not. It could be. We haven't come into that yet. Yeah, we're not gonna hold. Doesn't look like we hold that. Ethereum. The trend line held it down on ETH that time with that resistance that we were hitting all through here. Hasn't moved too far, but the scary part about taking a trade is when you see price action push through your resistance level and you start to feel like you're wrong, and so you don't take it. But you're right. I wasn't gonna take an Ethereum short myself. Um, it's an idea for anybody who wanted to, but I'm not taking the Ethereum short. It was the best option over Solana for sure, in my opinion. But I'm just sticking with trading Bitcoin for myself. Bitcoin and then gold. Those are my only two assets I'm trading. Everything else is more of a swing, a long term hold, like Microsoft and then Amazon when we get it. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and take my win off of this trade, even if it does more. I did want to hold on to it to see how if we open, how we're gonna do. Um, I can feel my greed starting to kick in. So yeah, I just went ahead and took that for what the market gave me. And it really didn't matter too much because I would have just taken half out of it and I would have let the other half stay in there. And price action, could have potentially come back against me and taken me out of the trade. So I just choosing to close out the entire thing. I walked away with more than I would have if I'd have taken half. So not really caring too much about it. But that was the entry before coming on stream that I was mentioning to you. As it cleared away from this trend line right here. So that was it. That's it. And if it's still right later on, then I just have to re-enter, and that's all to it. Let's see. Let me take a look at gold. Which gold has been doing absolutely nothing. Yeah, I've been following along with gold using the 4-hour time frame, and it has really just been sideways, a lack of momentum to push higher. Um, I consider this to be a little bit, I don't know. Now, I told you that this pattern formation right here is typically bearish because, it's coming from the downside for the top side. But you can see how when it got the break up and then the back test and it held that region and it's just been sideways inside of this resistance area right here, like really not showing any follow through whatsoever. The long idea was given over here off of this low drop right here. And you can see here, like momentum is down a little bit. That can change when market opens, but it didn't help with it yesterday. It didn't help with it at all. You gotta swing back up and swing back down there. No follow through here. See no crossing bars to the upside here, and it's just been that way ever since this rollover. Since that rollover happened, no crossing bars back up. Not really any strength in any of this, but you know except for the momentum, picked back up. You can see here how we were trading outside of that band. And it just is, yeah, it's kind of sucky. It sucks right now because it's not doing anything. It did push up hard than that. Here. It just really sucks. Doing nothing. Silver um, hasn't invalidated this yet. Well, hopefully it does, especially for people who, may have ended up buying in at the tops and stuff like that and got kind of hurt on this idea. There was a lot of silver activity happening the last time we were looking at bar chart. We were seeing a lot of silver activity happen. Um, no solid follow through, nothing solid just yet. So with that, I just expect for price action to, I don't know how long it's going to stay sideways, but I think that it pulls back a little bit. It could pull back some. Oh, I really don't know what to think of this. There's nothing I can do here that'll make this appear any different. This is normally where I look for a rejection. You use that to bounce, you come back into it, you reject. And like I said, the third one, now that's 50 right here. I don't know. I guess if it does push through, then back into this golden pocket would be your resistance. Potentially be the resistance. Zoom out on a monthly time frame. Still can't argue with this monthly. Monthly is still euphoric. So we're looking at the monthly time frame. We're outside of standard deviation too. Again, there's no contest in the monthly time frame. No pullback into this trend line right here that we're looking at. So this momentum line right here stays untapped. This would have been like the next place I would have been looking for price action to come to. But this is back in euphoria. About half of that wick too. Back into the golden pocket. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the monthly. I just feel like that was the top. I don't see anything wrong with the monthly so far. Mm, Zoom out on weekly. Yeah, didn't even push through there. Scapegoated that. Still underneath here. Okay, just chilling in the cloud right now. I'm not really getting outside of it. don't know, for me personally, I am looking for that personally. I'm not shorting it, so I don't have a bias. I'm not longing this. I don't have a bias. It's over. The only thing I'm touching, interested in is gold. The gold. Like I said, no follow through. No follow through on gold here. So far, it has to come back to here to stop me out, or the rest of what I have left in here, which isn't that much. So unless gold plans on moonshotting, it really doesn't make a difference to me on gold either. But gold above 51.20, I still don't see anything with a flat cloud. Like a sideways cloud doesn't indicate anything other than some sort of consolidation. Even if this would be a breakdown here. So even if, like it um, did drop below there, but it did exactly what it did on the RSI, where it dropped below, reclaimed back above, and then slipped back down below it. And it's really hard to get a good read on gold and silver right now because it's not doing anything. It's just sitting at the resistance. As long as it's at resistance, to me, it's likely to fall back down. So if it does fall back down, I'll be looking somewhere in here for starters with gold. And then there'll always be the measure move if you do a measure move on this, but I don't even know if this is even correct right now. Like if I did it like that, I mean, I could do it like that at this point. Mm, it's just a bearish formation. Now, I'd be looking for it to break down. Either come back and in here or drop back down here towards this level here. Don't see anything. See, I really don't have to focus on that anymore either. I can do that like that now. So no actual follow through or strong follow through. No strong follow through. I guess that's a better way of me saying it. There's no strong follow through there on gold. Bitcoin just starting to try to break down from here again. A little bit of a bounce the first time, but it's coming. It looked like it was gonna do that anyway. Like I said, just looking at something else I was looking at. see. Let's look here on that. Yeah, so any sort of a pullback, like I was saying, a back test on this trend line right here, you can just go off of this golden pocket. We want to see Bitcoin price action hold there. Uh, yeah, right now that'll be the thing to hold. I would take this 786 out of mine. Not focus on that. Mm, let's see. Ethereum. And with Ethereum, you got confluence with that 60 EMA down here. So right now it's getting close to tapping to that 2.6, but you have confluence with this lower trend line down through here with Ethereum. I think there was also confluence with the lower side of the Bollinger Band there as well. I believe we saw that. So yeah, not necessarily confluence with the Bollinger Band. So if it did break below here, I wouldn't get too bearish unless it's losing here because that can still hold. As that's broadening instead of compressing. So that's all a breakdown from there probably indicated it might be a trap, a bearish trap below here to think that prices roll harder. And if it does start to lose that, then maybe it does expand to the downside. But in the environment, just be careful with becoming overly bearish. Price action does not hold within the consolidation range. Mm, looks corrective. And this alarm started going off by the time I get back over here. Yeah. It won't take long for that alarm to start going off. We were watching Pippin the other day, and that alarm got on my nerves so bad. I think I deleted all of the Pippin. I don't even know why I have so many logs in here on alerts, but Pippin was driving me crazy. We was looking at a rejection for Pippin inside of. We drew out a little area for Pippin. I don't even know how it did. I got so sick and tired of it. I didn't even want to trade Pippin. Um, where are you, Pippin? Here it is, right here. Oh, okay, and it didn't reject that bad either, Pippin. Yeah, it started to irritate me so much. So I was looking for a rejection on Pippin right through here. Once I could identify that it was rejected, it didn't do too much. You see that trend line right there, that break above that line right there ended up happening. I ended up seeing it as corrective because it was putting in bullish divvies down through here on the RSI. So I was just waiting, yeah, for the break back above through here, which it got, and then it just ripped anew. Wow. Crazy. Yeah, that's the Bitcoin alarm going off. But Pippin, yeah, Pippin really irritated the crap out of me. And then the one across here is the one that you'd be looking for swing fails. So swing fail, little swing fail there, swing fail there, swing fail here. I think I played this line out right here. I really do. I should have been playing Pippin. Should have taken that long on Pippin. Uh, let's see. The other thing we was looking at was power because power was killing it that day as well. It never came down here to tap. I said I was interested in getting long on it, but only if it came back to these two areas. Otherwise, I didn't want to trade, the highs in here. And then we saw over here, we see that trend line. We saw that happening, and it was like, yeah, I'm not gonna. This was before this move. It was before. It was. No, I'm talking about before. By the time I plotted these two check lines on here and looked down at the 5 minute, it was like, yeah, that's gonna break. So knew that wasn't gonna happen at that point. So I didn't have to worry about alarms going off over here. I don't think this is the place anymore either. Because when we looked back at it that day, saw the cloud was rising and it was like, yeah, just forget about that. So I can go ahead and get rid of all of this. I haven't even looked to see like what's trending now. Yeah, I think I gotta move that rug as well because I think let's see. I was looking at it from was I looking at it from 4 hour perspective and then drop that. Yeah, Bitcoin with a little bounce. Um, yeah, it's a new rug right here. As long as it's trading, as long as it continues that. I mean, whatever this is in here looks toppy. A lot more wicks. I don't really see like anything that would interest me. That look like it stayed trading within standard 1 and 2 over here too, which likely it did. Let me turn this off so I can see that. Yeah, it stayed trading through that too. I really didn't even turn on the Bollingers that day. Had I done so, then maybe I would have changed my mind. I don't know. I may have changed my mind just because I could have seen it. It was doing that. Um, know what this is right here? We'll block it. I'd like to see price action hold that. So maybe if it comes down here, I don't know, I'll set an alert on it. I'm gonna have to delete those other alerts though. Hold on. How I did that. Let's Bitcoin again. Get out of here. Um, I think I have it on entering. I'll set it for exiting. Might be something. And then I think we looked at useless that day too. I think useless was up that day as well. What was useless? What am I waiting for on useless? I'm still waiting on something in here on useless though. Chances of me getting it. Could be likely. Useless with that squeeze. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to play around with useless. Looks like I was waiting on that. I might have been on a higher time frame looking at it too. I think I was. Yeah. So I was looking at those two trend lines right there. I was looking at useless getting another tap into this trend line right here for a potential long. And then this one right here, if it didn't manage to hold there, I was looking at that one. So that's what I was sitting here waiting on for useless is a tap back into the trend line right here, which doesn't seem to be happening right now. I think it may have played itself out after, yeah, I think it may, yeah, one, two, to do it again would just be too good to be true. But that's the lower side of the channel that we have in here for useless. We'll see. It is set up for it. I'll put this back on Bitcoin in the 15-minute. Rolling, 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 rolling. Dang, look at useless. It's useful right there, boy. That's useful. Let me see what's trending. What's trending today? I already can tell power's trending and that other one. Let's see. If nothing for me, maybe you guys might be interested in it. I don't know. I'm a little less degen. A little less interested in top blasting and stuff right now. Just not, even if it's not the top, I don't know. I'm just not feeling like it. I'm only feeling like Bitcoin right now, which is ridiculous because I'm really only feeling like Bitcoin. Yeah, so Pippin, dang, that thing be playing. That Pippin be giving. Pippin do be giving. Pippin can also take it away. Take a look at hype and take a look at virtual here. Let's take a look at those two. I heard somebody mention the uni the other day, so I will take a look at. I don't know if I really care to look at uni. I'll take a look at it since I heard somebody mention it, but I am going to take a look at hype and take a look at virtual. Look at Astra 7.9%. I'm back in the hold on pump. I'm still in it though. Well, let's take a look at virtual hype and take a look at uni. Um, while we're getting that pullback and looking for about this golden pocket. Don't want to do any more than that here for Bitcoin. In fact, so we don't have to push away from that chart, I'm just going to set this for 2. Then I'll use this one over here to check that uni and virtuals and stuff. So virtual I said hype first, didn't I? There's hype. So basically performing like Bitcoin, but performing way better. Oh, that was beautiful right there. It's on a 1 hour time frame. It is in a bit of a it took the liquidity from the prior day high. That's daily. Yeah, it took the liquidity from the prior day high. So it's getting an SFP right now. I don't even know if I call it SFP because it closed above that, but it's rejecting off of that prior day high right now. To move down, it would be nice to see it hold here about that 30. Does that happen? No. I don't know what's going on there. Actually, let me zoom out so I can say what's going on through here. I don't know what that was about. Let's get rid of that. At that. We had enough of that Bitcoin alert. I need to clear that. Actually, let me just do a parallel channel on this, even though it did not come back down to that. Let's see, like, what could that be? Neutral. Let's see what this is trading in between. Okay. So forget about that. I mean, and that's already happened anyway. I mean, we can get it back on this channel. That would be good. And if it doesn't come back into the channel, be looking. Let's see. That's about in tune with where that is on this 4 hour. Where that is. Since it didn't reach the bottom side of this channel at any point other than here. No, at any point it didn't reach it. It didn't reach it at any point. So you can get it back down there. That would be nice. This right here indicates that it's a bit overextended in terms of the energy for the move up. So maybe that is possible right here, since it is still putting in lower highs and lower lows. This could be a possibility to take a long off of Hyperliquid. Just want to see where I have this, and that was standard. Here would be the standard too as well, just like it did over here. But it put in a little bullish divvy right there. Let me just, there's no actual strength in this push to the upside in this fib. I like that even more. So if we could get this, this could be a good long. Could be a good long. Since it hasn't actually tapped this lower, I'm gonna do it like that, and then we'll be looking for it to. Okay, we run that up right in the times. It's gone. It's gone. Yeah, so if we can get that without making it too big of a stop, position size will just really make a difference. That could work. It'll probably be a while trying to get to it. Otherwise, like you're a little late on anything else other than, yeah, you're a little late on anything else in here. And you could wait for a solid reaction if we get it, like a solid reaction instead of limiting in. You want to mark it in on a solid reaction around here if we can get it to there for hyperliquid. It seems doable. We'll see. Otherwise, let's just do that to here. Um, so yeah, that I was going to say that would be invalidation, potential invalidation right here. That's another way of doing this too, around where the 786 is located at, because this is the strength that came in to give price action to push up. Wouldn't want to invalidate that. So that would be the only other thing I would look at. Possibly. Oh, let me check one more thing. Yeah, any one of those two actually. Um, Forget about this one. If it happened, it'd have to happen with bullish divergence. It would be either this golden pocket here. I'm gonna set it in between a little bit and do it like that. So golden pocket and 786, one like that. Just looking at this right here. So yeah, do it like that. Mm, for hyperliquid. What did I say? Virtual. Oh, geez. Everything has this on the 4 hour, just like Bitcoin has that on the 4 hour time frame, that descending channel that we covered. Huh. Which probably isn't a good one because this has the potential to come all the way back here, to be real. There is no upsloping posture in this. This is overall, if the slope was better, this is pretty nice, to be honest. Let's just say that it just dropped through this like that. Oh, yeah. I mean, as long as that's still sloping down, it has the potential to come back to it. That's my only thing. Don't want to see that. Or something like that. Oh, I would aim back for that high. Aside from that, with virtuals, you want to see it hold. You want to see it hold that prior day low right there, which means I would drop this just for that high again for Birch. Yeah, this isn't the most gorgeous chart. In fact, let me do that like that. It is the only chart though, compared to it shows some solid strength on that one. Like solid strength on that candle right there. Not even Hyperliquid had that. Bitcoin doesn't even have a flip above here. So this looks, I mean, in terms of that, that was pretty nice. Yeah, you wouldn't want to see it come below that previous day low. But if for some reason it did, then I would just be looking out for that 200 tap because it's still pinned to the down, sloping to the downside, which means it doesn't have a lot of long-term strength. It just doesn't. So it could come back to that. I'll set an alert on this just in case it does come back towards that. And virtuals, I personally would just trade virtual spot versus using leverage on it. It's 54 cents. You can save yourself from, too much damage by just trading it as a spot trade. Overextend it. Do look for that to come back in. Uni already did whatever it was gonna do. So no point in really looking at that for me. Unless it plans on holding from here. It's already back tested the daily right here. Already back tested that. So that's what we're looking for with virtuals. I would say if you wanted to long this, you could. I wouldn't look for it to do what it did before. And I'm just basing that on the doji. I'm just basing it on this candle breaking above that doji. Because that indecision and now you're making decisions. But if I look at this too with that, yeah, and see, or you just want to see this come back here, right? Like what we did before. This is another one that you can just do spot. And your spot stop will be based on whatever you want it to be. I look for this candle right here. That was the push back in over here. Or maybe this time this push doesn't go any further than back here towards that 365 unless something changes in here. That might be okay. Yeah, that top right there looks about like what I was just saying, where it may not, that's 364, where it may not do any more than that this time. Yeah, that's 365. It may not do any more than that this time. So, I mean, if you played it, I wouldn't look for any more than that myself, too. It's about that 364, 365 right there. Otherwise, I would just kind of sit out on this one and let it come back to something like this because that was, yeah, whoever did that, that was crazy. Be crazy if Bitcoin follows that model and does that too. This looks corrective right here. You see this formation over here looks like a little flag. That looks corrective right now for Bitcoin. We'll flip this back on a 1. Yeah, nice bounce off of that previous day low right there, right now. Right now. That's coffee and crypto. Jeb. I like his intro, his song. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here. And today, I love his little country accent too, because I'm from the country. And Jeb start preaching at you. And he's such an intelligent young man. So intelligent. Let me put this back on Bitcoin. 1 hour. I don't know how that changed on me. It did though. Well, my stuff isn't showing up. It's all good. Yeah, my stuff isn't showing up. Mm. Let me check back on this from a 5-minute stance so I can see what I was seeing with that. Doesn't really matter if I have one on these lows or not. Ethereum's getting closer to tapping into this lower side. Remember what I said about that? You do have confluence with the moving average riding up this trend line right here, but don't get overly bearish. If you did trade that, I would make this a TP once price taps into it, because if it breaks down below it, it still has a chance of holding the low in here around this golden pocket. And if it doesn't, then hooray for you. You've already locked in some profit, and then you'll make some more on it. But just be aware of that. Hopefully, we can continue picking up like some bullish divergence. I would love to see that again, since it has, it's been giving when it's been giving. You just check that little thing right there. That little candle wick right there. Might. That was the bottom side of the little flag or whatever it's doing inside of here. I will move this back down to the low in just a sec. Well, in a few minutes, and just see how it does right here. Positive 3 minute. See if I want to. I had like the weirdest dream last night. I was kidnapped, and I knew the person that kidnapped me. I honestly didn't figure out that they were the person that kidnapped me until I started seeing a signature everywhere, and it was this signature CK. It was a signature CK everywhere, and I happened to see him write CK, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's him!" It was the weirdest dream. The weirdest dream. And then there were moments in the dream too where I think there was like a flooded house or something like that. Um, it was just all over the place. Some people that I never met before, and I was doing someone's hair, and she had an issue with like alopecia or something like that. Just it was all over the place all at once, but it was interesting and weird. Oh, Bitcoin. I haven't looked at USDT dominance. Let me see what we're looking like on that. The last time we looked at US Tether dominance, we We had gotten a bounce off of support. So actually, I think that would have been like me using pain like this one. Yeah. So yeah, the last time we looked at USDT dominance, we had mapped a couple of things out in here. I was looking for price action to, I mean, like we did the measured move for this breakout right here of this wedgie structure right here, which meant that it pushed into this zone. But I was looking for it to really, I guess, not even fully meet that measured move. It did, and you can see how amazingly it did too, just from a line perspective. The wicks would scare me. But from a line chart perspective, it was exactly what the measure move was for. That's crazy. Analysis is freaking crazy. But anyway, what ends up happening is we push out. So at this point, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah. And I had to draw in the last little area that price actually could go to before it starts to hit discovery. But we got the drop down into support in here and we started to push out. I said if price push back, well, if USDT dominance did push in any higher, this time I would seriously look for it to stall out around the midpoint in here. And I'm just basing that on here, the last time how it stalled out here and here. It could pose as resistance this time. It didn't handle it as well, you know, the first time, but from here, it could. We've already seen a little bit of a rejection, so we're seeing a little bit of a pop here out of Bitcoin, but we want to see this actually break down this time. The last time before that, we were looking at it breaking down below this, but possibly finding support here in this zone, and also where we had the breakout, like back test of the breakout trend line here. So the top side of that line there. So let's see. Love for us to take this out, break back down below here. That would be nice. And then we could get, yeah, maybe this time it comes back, USDT dominance comes back and it holds right in here around that 6.85 to 6.45 level here as support. If we can get that, that would be glorious. Hopefully, we can get that. At this point too, um, I don't need this like this anymore. So actually, let me just put on array. I can just look at that. So if we can get that follow through, break below this low in here, maybe, yeah, like I said, this area right here could act as some sort of support, or maybe even back here on this trend line right here for USDT dominance, we can get a little bit more out of Bitcoin. That would be absolutely lovely. Like to see that that accumulation playing out. That accumulation that we talked about with iBit. Seeing that. Like to see that follow through. So that could be us. That could be us. Could be gearing up for that. Seriously, like not nothing that has actually confirmed in here, but I always love when I see that. I love to see it do it a little bit more, like it did on Bitcoin's 1 hour time frame. That'd be nice to see that happening here with USDT dominance. That would be nice. Let me check this. That would be nice. if we can get what we got when we had it over here, you see, as all that bearish rise, how it started climbing up. We got that on USDT dominance daily. Looks like it's starting to do something like this. It hasn't confirmed anything just yet. I can't tell at the moment, but it has a slight resemblance to that happening. Slight resemblance to that happening. All right, it is 8 o'clock. Yeah, I'm still just sitting on my hands right now. Maybe there's a potential for a little bull flag in here. That golden pocket would really need to hold. You don't want to see price action, not that one, but it was actually, let me push this up so I can see if that changed for you guys. So that did change a little bit. Something else that I'm following along with in price action I can see. So right now, how I had to drag this moving average up, this I'm sorry, this fib up right here to this little pivot right here. This 786 is what you want to see hold. So we start to lose below, drop below this 786, then you can say that this bull flag doesn't play out, and it's more likely that we see a rollback down to take some of this liquidity down here, either when market opens or prior to market opening. Something like that could be the case. And like I said, I marked out a couple of zones through here, so it's just anywhere through here. It really wasn't much right in here, so I just avoided that one. But below this pivot right here, any liquidity down through here, that one right over here where you can see price action did get that bounce up off of that bullish divergence, and that but you're under something important once you drop below this 786. So sitting on my hands waiting for the market to tell me to get back in again. 4 hours still, even with the 4 hour showing positivity, it can still decide to throw in some bullish divergence. So that means prices can still fall. We get some bullish divergence, and then we'll get another attempt up. But right now, it is showing that this 786 is critical right here. This 786. I tried to get the most touches off of here, which means that this is probably incorrect, because I did try to get the most touches, and I can see now that it is. So I'm going to change this slightly. Um, and do it like that. And then that means I'm going to have to change this one too. Do it like that to keep it parallel. So I showed you what I was looking for. I see Ethereum's trying to get a little bit of a bounce as it was coming into the approach of the bottom side of the formation right here. It does have a little green candle here. Ethereum. And Solana's bouncing off of the level that we spoke of in here also. Let me just flash you Solana. We talked about potentially looking for it to hold in here. So it is, that's the second time it's gotten a bit of a reaction right here. One reaction there, one reaction right here. See how that do. See if it comes back up into here and then sees a rejection since you did overshoot on that formation there the first time. If not, I start to look for an SFP or something like that. Look for some liquidity to be taken before you entertain it again. I don't think that the liquidity up here would really be the thing. I will still look at this one. I don't know what drove this, but it obviously didn't have any power. You can look at how choppy it was, even when it tried to put in a little triangle right there. So just need that 4 hour to hold that structure and give us that move we're looking for. Do I like that? I might like that little flag. Just I'm trying to see how much I will like it. Okay. I'm gonna play with that. Okay. All right. Come on, Biddy. Come on for the invalidation. We can entertain this two ways. One is going to be this absolute low down here. And the other one is going to be this right here. It's probably not perfect. This means we'd be trying to get to this liquidity right here. And this means we'd be trying to get to that 786. We're still struggling around that. Still struggling around this high right here, though. It's actually this high that's acting as a little bit of resistance right now. I think that was our mean on the Bollinger. I'm almost certain of it. It really, um, yeah, close enough. Hold on. Okay, standard one now. All right, see. Standard one rejection. And I put a top stop loss on this for myself, um, for just in case, it was a nothing burger. And the only thing I really had to go off of with that was it's another indicator that I'm looking at. So when I drop this line right here, that for me, that top stop loss, tight stop loss is here. Yeah. All right, about 6 minutes left on this candle. See if if the next one is really going to bring any extra energy with it, or if that was just as much as it could get done. 4 hours still failing to break above the 50, the mean of the RSI. We already know that. We already know that we don't have the actual follow through showing up just yet, but market can open up and we can boom. So I'm hoping that this 4 hour isn't an outlier. Shouldn't be. Take a look over here. Let me see. So you can see this open interest that we have through here right now. Now the change isn't that much over here, but you can see right through here on for IBIT share holders right through here. You can see that. Like that's a big deal right through here. About this 40. That's a big deal. I guess maybe the only thing, yeah, you see, dang it. Hold on. Yep, that's exactly what I expected. So I got stopped out. I'm glad I set a type stop loss on that too. Glad I explained that to you as well for that situation there. Let me just check the damage of what it done for Ethereum then. Okay. Yeah. It was a nice attempt. I said that what I was looking at for that indicator, that other indicator I was looking at, we got the negative cross to the downside. So it was a chance that it wouldn't make it. That's why I said that tight stop. Okay, so what I was saying to you beforehand, like even if it loses this 20 right here, the main thing it needs to hold is going to be right here. Because what I'm looking at, this other thing that I'm looking at would imply that below here, it will get bearish below here. Even if you start to see it bouncing, break below it and then start to bounce, that what I'm looking at could continue to rise and cause a problem for price action. Um, when market opens, maybe we tell a different story. I did not check on data for today. I know we had data coming out. I wonder if that had any impact. Let's see. Today, today's Thursday. We had unemployment claims. Actually, it's getting ready to come out in just a few minutes. So we do have unemployment claims getting ready to come out. I'm gonna set myself up for something just in case, but I won't do anything like I did yesterday. Not at all anything like I did yesterday. All right, so I'm setting myself up for something, but I'm still holding a short. So aside from that, I only have a reason to check on a long entry for myself. Move this over here so I can see it. 1 minute left on that. And I guess after we get that data, I've already covered for you what I'm looking for in here for price action. Yeah, be stuck waiting on market to open. All for entertainment. Yeah, I was so at the casino yesterday. At the casino. I was straight gambling yesterday. Straight gambling. All right, 32, 30 seconds left. Okay. No actual reaction. Came in red in the red. Um, let's see. Forecast was 224K, came in at 227K. And we'll be looking for this to come in less than forecast in order for it to be good for the dollar. So it came in, unemployment claims came in higher than expected. So, all right, getting that second attempt on this breakout from that golden pocket, that 20 SMA. Really got to get beyond the standard one right here. Whoa to the volatility. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Mm-mm-mm. This time we're not even getting above that momentum. Break that. Dun, dun, dun. Alrighty. 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 That's 68,000 double o two. 68,000 double o two. People are still questioning that data from yesterday, and especially with them unemployment claims being higher. Boy. Mm-mm-mm. Want to be able to get past there. Want to be able to get past there. Get past there and start back looking at this right here. But we're starting to compress a little bit in here too on this 15-minute time frame. So just an hour, little less than an hour out now for market to open and see what they're gonna do. See what they're gonna do with us. Like I was saying to you, you can see like the open interest increase here on the you can see the open interest here on on the call side On the put side, it's going to be more leverage. I mean, hedging against their long bets. Um, so the I was about to say to you, let me see. Let me see. Yeah. So what I was saying in here is you're not really seeing any change in here. Like you can see like overall where the interest is, but it is still kind of screaming. It is still kind of screaming a little bearish leaning a little bit, and we won't start to see that flip until we get some follow through off of that 4 hour time frame. So I would really focus on trading that 4 hour time frame. Like your 4 hour time frame starts to give you something more, then you have yourself a good play from wherever you took your price action entry from within all of this choppy sideways mess that we have so far. But mm, uh, yeah. So might still, yeah, might be still leaning until that 4 hour clears, until the 4 hour clears. With that said, I'd like to say thank you to anybody who stopped by today to hang out with your girl down to Crypto TA. If that 4 hour does start to give us a little bit more than just what it did so far, which was that little signal that we can see down through here, like we can see a positive cross here on the MACD, but no follow through with MACD jumping above the zero line, no follow through here, no mean reversion there, no mean revert above here. None of that just yet. Just a couple of indications ever since back here, but nothing that's showing that we're going to continue higher right now. 4 hour does change. You see your MACD above your zero or something like that. And happy days. Mm, sound like Tino happy days. I like to hear Tino say that happy days. But yeah. I mean, this is the only stuff that we have, like some indication that we may want to go higher, uh, but no follow through yet. We just don't have follow through yet. We get that follow through, then we're good. No follow through on the 1 hour either. No follow through on the 1 hour just yet either. So we need that follow through. Tried it again in here, still holding it. Oh, not up too much, just a little five, almost 6% up. Just trying that breakout again right here. And you saw what I was saying, possibly getting into this liquidity right here. That would be the hope, or getting into this 786 right here. That would also be the hope here for Bitcoin. 4 hour gives. Those are the two things that I would look for in price action. If the 4 hour gives, now if the 4 hour gives too, then that would you would see some movement in that daily as well. So yeah, it's Thursday. We know how it goes from here. From here towards Monday, we'll start to see a little less liquidity in the market, especially at the close. So good luck. If I notice anything else, I will post it. So you can follow me on X at Down to Crypto TA if I notice anything extra. And do be sure to watch out on that Microsoft too. All right. Love you, and I will see you tomorrow.